Hey Jody, okay, thanks for getting this in. Here's your contact sheets. And then, so the assignment here was to use lighting, and maybe some props if necessary, to establish the wisdom, a feeling of wisdom with your subject. So I have to say that I'm not getting that here, and I think props might have gone a long way, or maybe something a little bit less conventional in regard to portraiture. Also, we need a lot more space between your subject and the background. Elsewise, we can see the fabric, and it just kind of, it makes it look cheap, when you can see the wrinkly fabric right behind your subject matter. So you want either more space behind him so that's out of the depth of field, or just go pick yourself up some paper backdrops too. You can do that. Sometimes you'll even see wrinkles in the paper backdrops though, so really we want more space. Usually like 3 to 4, maybe 5 feet between your subject and your background. Oh, but at f8 actually, if you're shooting these at f8 or f7, they're all at f7. Yeah, that's a pretty small aperture, so you have a pretty deep depth of field at f7. So if you wanted to get your background out of focus, you need to be shooting maybe more like f2.8, f3.5, something like that. And then, like I said, some creativity in regard to this, in your approach to this shoot would have been really helpful, because I'm just not getting the feeling of wisdom. It could be your subject too, though. I don't know. Which is not at all a character judgment on this fellow. I'm just not getting that feeling. So you did go with high ratio, which is fine, and you pulled it off pretty well, and you were also able to make sure that you still had illumination in the eyes. You used some rim light, so that's working really nicely for you as well. A lot of times, something that, here, this shot probably comes closest to maybe giving you a feeling of wisdom. Not so much wisdom, though, as severity or intensity, but something that would work really nice here is to give him all rim light, like you have a key light coming from above and behind him, and just a little bit of bounce back in, or two key lights above and behind him, but off a little bit to the side, so that he would have the brightest part of his face would be the around it, and then this part of his face would be a little bit more in shadow, and it would actually add severity, because he's pretty rounded, right? He doesn't have any really harsh angles there, and then if this was in shadow, the roundness of his face would start to turn into more an angular sort of thing. I want to say Glenn did this in one of his images this week with this assignment, so maybe open up Glenn's assignment and you'll see what I mean. He's got two key lights coming from either side, so the hottest part of the subject, the brightest part of the subject, is the perimeter, and then here is left a little bit in shadow. It's got fill, so it's still, we can still see into the face, but it's a really nice technique to use with males if you want them to look serious and stern. It works really well. And then also for what you did do here, it's always important to get a little bit of light into the eye, or else it's just completely lost. We can't even see the eye there because it's just completely dark. So there would just be some lighting techniques. A kicker, what you would want here is a kicker, just a little bit of extra light here on the temple would do a lot to fill in the eye as well, while still giving you that high ratio that you're seeking out. Okay, thanks for getting this in, and I will see you next week. Just a few tips about your lighting. I hope that you can find an opportunity to try those things. And then also, if you don't have a lens in your arsenal of lenses right now that has a wider aperture, maybe start saving up for one. Okay, because they were super useful, especially if you like working with the tungsten lights, the continuous lights. They're just not as bright as strobes, so you need faster lenses. You need lenses with wider apertures to solve these sorts of problems for you. But these are all in crisp focus, which I definitely appreciate. So thank you, and I will see you next week.